if you've been following the stock, on Thursday, we put out our Q1 earnings, and it was not your average Thursday in our office. The stock was up over 22%, 17 million shares traded on the day, lots of liquidity in the name, and again, on the back of Q1 earnings. So several things that kind of came to fruition all at once, but really just a testament to the execution and the confidence of our management team thus far. What we're talking about with investors is the construction of our next mine, Terronera. It's about 53% complete right now. It's an absolute game changer for the company and for our profitability. And I think what was really important for me was on Thursday, for example, silver price was up 3%. Our stock was up over 20%. And what it showed is our stock's significant beta, our leverage, our torque, whatever you want to call it. We're really known for it, just in terms of how much movement we have in relation to our performance in silver price. I will be making forward-looking statements. The majority of my presentation is about growth, so you are duly cautioned. And before we get into the story, I'd like to just take a little bit of a step back and talk about the mission and the purpose of the company. So we're an established producer. We've been in operations for 20 years, and the company was formed by our founder by the name of Brad Cook, who was an exploration geologist who a lot of people definitely know. And when he formed the company, it was always very clear his mission. He wanted to create a premier senior silver producer. I'm going to emphasize that because, again, if you've been in the silver space, you would see that a lot of our peers have been picking up gold assets on their pathway to growth. Not by choice, but just on availability. Like, if they want to grow the business, if they want to grow their cash flow, they have to buy gold assets to grow. But silver investors don't always like that because in turn, what the company is doing is giving up their silver halo and reducing their multiples. And so really when we talk about Endeavour Silver, that's how we're different. We don't need to go out and do expensive M&A. We have a growth portfolio inherent already that is silver focused. So as we become a senior silver producer and get up to 25 million ounces, we will maintain our silver dominant focus. So who are we today? Again, mid-tier producer, 2 underground mines in Mexico, and we're on the doorstep of a major transformation with our 3rd mine in construction. It's called Terronera, and then we've got 2 other assets behind that as well that we can propose to build over the next 5 years. Because of this, we have an industry-leading growth profile in the silver mining space that nobody else does. And we don't produce any base metals, purely precious, so we offer an industry-leading beta of about 3 to 1. So for 1% change in the bullion, the stock responds 3 times. And that was a prime example of what we saw on Thursday with the stock responding 20% up on the day. To complement all of this, as we grew over the years, our foundation of ESG principles has also grown significantly. We enjoy a positive reputation in Mexico. We have a full reporting suite of materials on the website. And this ESG is something that's very inherent in how we do business and again, supports our growth trajectory as we continue to build new mines. So our outlook for this year is about 9 million ounces of silver equivalent metal from our 2 producing mines. At the time that we set the guidance, the price assumptions that were used were $23 silver and $18.40 gold to arrive at an all-in sustaining cost of about $22.50. Obviously, we're in a very different price environment right now, and so the healthier gold credit with the really strong pricing would just contribute to further margin expansion in Q2. Our Q1 costs came in a smidge under guidance. We know gold started taking off in April. So again, we'll see those costs on a unit basis come down significantly in Q2 onwards if prices stay where they are. Within the portfolio, we have 5 exploration assets between Mexico, Chile, and the US, but our focus right now is very much so Mexico. I'm just going to get right to it and talk about the jewel in the portfolio, which is our Terronera asset. We've been working on it for the last 10 years. It's a 60-40 silver-gold value split, 90 million ounces defined in reserves, 10 years of visibility outlined in mine life. Beautiful asset in that it's shallow, thick, and rich. Rich being the grades of about 400 grams per ton. and 6 technical reports that we've put out. We're now in the construction phase, so we have ample liquidity to see this project through to completion. We recently closed on a loan with SocGen and ING, senior secured debt for $120 million, drew down our first installment of $60 million, and probably in Q3 we will draw down on the remaining $60 million. Just to show you the near-term growth. So again, 53% complete as the end of Q1, on track for commissioning in Q4. So our current operating base, 9 million ounces, layer in life of mine average on Terronera for about 7 million ounces. Next year, we could be producing about 15 million ounces of silver equivalent metal as this mine comes on stream. So significant near-term growth. And not only are we nearly doubling our production, but we are significantly lowering our costs. I did mention that the deposit was very favorable in terms of the cost profile of about $1 per ounce net of the gold credit. So on a consolidated basis, that would basically represent a 50% reduction in our corporate AISC. To give you an idea of the cash flow, so if prices are to be where they are today, our existing operations make about $35 million in after-tax free cash flow. Terronera coming on stream would add another $85 million. So really changes the business for us, really changes the game, and that near-term growth is right in front of us. Just a visual interpretation of how we stack up against the silver mining industry in terms of costs, so lowest quartile for cash costs and lowest decile for all-in sustaining costs. So very attractive, and again, this is why this asset is a significant priority for the management team. Some construction shots. Basically, for the last year, we've been emphasizing the importance of achieving underground mine development rates of about 4 meters per critical heading per day, and we've been doing that. So for Q1, we already reached 1,000 meters, cumulative total about 3,200 meters. I was just at site recently, and it's so amazing how busy it is. It looks and feels like a mine. The rhythm of it is all there. It's all about structural steel installation, so that's about 80% done. It's all about vertical installation, so we're setting the ball mills, setting the SAG mill, the float cells, all of that is happening. And again, we expect completion in Q4 of this year. Obviously, our focus is construction, so we've halted the exploration program, but we do have 10 years defined in mine life. We know when it's all said and done, we'll be here for 20 years onwards, just because it's a district scale land package with significant exploration potential, lots of veins that we haven't even started testing. So there's a lot of blue sky there. And then the interesting thing about Endeavour is that behind Terronera, we have another fabulous asset called Pitarrilla. It's located in Durango, in Mexico as well. It's the newest addition to our portfolio. We just bought it from SSR Mining for $70 million about 2 years ago. And it represents one of the world's largest undeveloped silver deposits in the world. Massive deposit. SSR Mining had spent $140 million on it. We always get asked the question, like, why did they give it up? Why did they not want this beautiful deposit? And the answer is that they actually became a gold company through their merger with Alistair, and it just didn't make sense in the portfolio. But it was a very competitive process for us to acquire it, and we're very, very happy with this purchase. So the idea is the development team, once they're done with Terronera, would get sequenced into Pitarrilla, and we would look to build this out as an underground mine. So just to reiterate, the size of the resource, close to 1 billion ounces if you include the lead and the zinc. Now, SSR had conceptualized it additionally as an open pit mine. So we would not be doing that. We would be looking at the high-grade core, the sulfides of it to model an underground operation. But this asset alone would probably add another 8 million ounces on top of the production profile that we already have. And so that would really fulfill our mission of how do we become a senior silver producer? How do we stay silver focused? How do we really keep those multiples in a rising price environment and provide the best silver investment vehicle for our investors? Really quick here, again, I just want to talk about some info. So we've got 7 analysts that cover the stock on the Canadian and the US side, lots of liquidity in the name. even with the price action that we saw on Thursday, the stock is still a ways off from the 52-week high. So a lot of upside, and from now to the finish line, it's all about execution to bring Terranera on stream. So I'll leave it at that, and if you want to catch up with me at the booth, I'm always available just over there. Thank you.